Hi, my name's Tara Flood. I'm a disability rights activist, but I also had the honour of being the Director of ALLFIE from 2006 to 2019. And I want to start by wishing ALLFIE a fantastically happy 30th birthday. Who would have thought it 30 years ago that 30 years down the line in 2020, ALLFIE would still be going strong and still smashing it out of the park when it comes to you're campaigning for a fully inclusive education system for all disabled pupils and students, and an education system that we have often talked about, that reflects Article 24 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So I've been asked to speak about power and the power that ALFIE has to create social change. And I thought I'd do that in three ways. I'd start by talking about the power of the information that ALFIE creates. That information is based absolutely on its founding principles, and they have always given ALFIE clarity of thinking and a strength, I guess, in knowing what we say is absolutely correct, even when we might well be the only organisation, the only people saying it. I think that strength has carried us in all this time, because it means that we can be absolutely crystal clear when we talk about what we mean by an inclusive education system, and how important it is that we don't forget that that requires an ending of segregation of all types, those that keep disabled pupils and students away from education. So then the second point around power I want to talk about is ALFIE's, I suppose, its commitment for all this time to working with allies. I remember when I started at ALFIE, I came from the disabled people's movement and really was very reluctant to see the value of working with non-disabled people. I think because I'd seen non-disabled people as the barrier in terms of our struggle for inclusion, equality and rights. And actually ALFIE taught me that in fact allies, if we work with non-disabled people in terms of the struggle that we are fighting, it's absolutely possible to turn non-disabled people into allies in support of our cause. And ALFIE taught me that. Now for ALFIE, those allies are parents of disabled children and young people, but they are also allies in the education system, teachers, educational psychologists, support workers, people that are working to, I suppose, support and share ALFIE's vision of an inclusive education system for all. And I think there's huge power in that, and there always will be. So we need to continue to keep focusing on finding new allies and support those allies that we already have. The disabled people's movement has been for 40 years or more nothing about disabled people without disabled people, and I have that at the heart of everything that I do. But as a movement, we also understand strength in unity, and for ALFIE that absolutely means about the strength of working with our non-disabled allies, in terms of whoever they are: parents, teachers, educational psychologists, politicians, where the opportunity arises, but recognising the strength that comes with that. And then lastly, I want to talk about the work that ALFIE has done from the beginning again to support the next generation, particularly the next generation of young disabled people who, like so many of us, have been disempowered by an education system that finds every opportunity to devalue us or indeed segregate us. And I think ALFIE has, from the beginning, tried to shift that, has tried to disrupt that hideous and ever powerful oppression. And I think we've done that in a number of different ways. We've worked with disabled young people, but also more recently we have the Knowledge is Power toolkit, which is about really supporting disabled children and young people to know about the social model of disability and to understand the liberation that comes from knowing that actually it is a responsibility of society to change the way that it operates, to make room for us, to include us in everything that it does. And I think we've led the way in doing that. I've said that already, but I also think we have encouraged other disabled people's organisations to do that too. And I think that's important, because whilst ALFIE absolutely leads the way on this, we have to be working with other organisations and supporting other organisations to do that too, because there are lots of disabled young people out there who are marginalised and are excluded by a system that continues to see us as lesser. And so it's fantastic that ALFIE does that. So overall, I think our power comes from the information that we create, that it's based on our founding principles, and it's unswerving in support for inclusive education. Our power also comes from the allies that we work with, and that we continue to look for new allies. And then lastly, our power comes from the work that we do to support the next generation of disabled leaders through the work that we do with disabled children and young people. So I'm going to say once again, it's fantastic that you've got to 30. It's an extraordinary achievement, and I look forward to the next 10, 20 years and seeing what ALFIE achieves next, because we can't do it without you. You provide crucial and powerful leadership. So, strength in unity.